It was really fun to work on developing the script, working with Dan Trachtenberg, the director. I think he did an extraordinary job. I think the cast was incredible, and even through to Bear McCreary's score, it was really a fun movie to see evolve, and I'm thrilled to be a part of it. I think that the story itself, the premise when we first got the script, was such a compelling thriller of an idea. And to get to play on that tension, the expectations, the reversals of the story, it's a movie that I think you're really vicariously experiencing Michelle's point of view, and I think this speaks to not just the power of what Dan Trachtenberg did as a director, but the power of Mary Elizabeth Winstead as this character. You're constantly feeling that question of what would I do if I were in that situation. She makes some bold moves. She has some sort of safe observational moments, but the whole thing feels like an exercise in sort of building tension, until it gets to an insane place where she finally breaks free from this circumstance and is faced with something that she could never have anticipated. 10 Cloverfield Lane has such a powerful premise, I think, which is that what happens when something horrible happens and you are in need of saving, and yet you're saved by someone who may be out of their minds. And that's a great premise. Who do you trust, and what do you do? And that premise that it's really dangerous outside, but that it becomes terrifying inside, and what is the decision you're going to make, felt like the kind of crux of the whole story. Well, Howard is the man who built this bunker. He's a sort of doomsday conspiracy theorist, survivalist type. He is claiming that there's been an attack and that it is deadly outside and that you can't leave, and yet staying inside requires you follow Howard's rules. And little by little, it becomes clear that being inside might not be the best choice. And it's this kind of puzzle. How do you go along with this existence that is increasingly frightening when you don't know whether or not to trust him, whether or not you'll survive the night with him? And the relationship between these three characters it's a little bit like a play in some ways, but it I think grows and grows and grows in tension and results in a wild third act where the big revelation about what Howard's been saying takes place. I think Dan Trachtenberg did an amazing job in creating an ever-building sense of tension in a very Hitchcockian way. He's confident enough as a director to hold shots, to allow things to play out, to say a lot in silence, in looks. And I think between the use of music and stillness and a kind of growing sense of tension, so that when these moments happen, these sort of revelations happen, these big, bold moves happen, these revelations occur, there's a great sense of sort of this modulation of energy, and it's a testament to, I think, not just what Dan did and the actors did, but to the story itself and the screenplay. It's a great Twilight Zone idea. When I heard the pitch before I read the script, I just felt like, oh my God, that's a great predicament. And I felt myself wanting to know what happens, and hopefully that's what the audience is experiencing. 10 Cloverfield Lane has a kind of a connection to the original Cloverfield in a kind of DNA, in a sort of the feeling we had working on it. We realized this felt like it was part of something bigger. As we were working on the movie, we had a bigger idea that 10 Cloverfield Lane could be part of what is essentially an anthology of stories, but at the same time they're connected in a way that most anthologies aren't, and there's a bigger idea that we're playing with here. But it is an opportunity for us to create original stories, original characters. It's purposely not called Cloverfield 2, but to have a connection that ultimately can pay off in a really fun way.